And these ideas will be something one day, I'm telling you. You don't remember those walks, Trey? You don't remember those?
Books, and then the rest is history.
Oh, the rest is history. Not yet, but it will be.
You got a different perspective, Shay, or the same thing? So I'm sure you guys have watched Jeopardy, right? So our next session is called "I Will Take Thinking for 500." We just really want to dive into a bit more about specifically how this idea came to be. So let's kick it off.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start off with the idea piece. Earlier in the year, I'd kind of been, or earlier that year, I guess it was like 2 years ago now. I'd already been like into mobile app development, and generally I've been like teaching myself coding for like a year before that now. So I was just like looking for something to do in general. So I mean, for a while I'd already been like brainstorming random ideas to try to like start some sort of side project. And I think Khalid remembers, like I had like a
Yes,
whole
sir.
list of just
Our
like
idea list, bro.
really awful
That thing's
ideas.
gold. That
Just
thing's
like,
gold.
I mean, if anyone wants to have like an Uber for bachelors, hit me up. But like, other than that, like I don't know if that's like the real need in the world.
And these ideas will be something one day, I'm telling you.
But really, I realized later on that like the best idea that one could kind of like build either a business or an app or any sort of project off of is one that like you've experienced yourself. So a problem that you on a daily basis or like on a regular basis generally experience, and then you solve that problem because you know so much about it. So for me personally, just to like quickly walk through the story, it was my parents always needed me to do like general things around the house, like home improvement stuff. So whether it was like mowing the lawn or like pressure washing or kind of services like that. And I didn't really want to do them. They were chores. So I'd always end up like going to my neighbor's house, who's like my neighbor who's my age is like super experienced with that kind of stuff, and he does them for the whole neighborhood usually. Like during the fall, for example, he goes around and like rakes leaves and stuff like that just for money. So I'd end up like going to him and being like, hey, can you come like mow the lawn, or can you come rake the leaves or something like that? And it became kind of a hassle because we weren't exactly like friends, so it'd be like this awkward conversation every time where I'd be like, come mow the lawn or come rake the leaves. So in my head, I think it was like literally just one night I kind of started brainstorming like solutions to that problem. And I wasn't even trying to think of it from like a business sense or anything like that. It was more like I didn't want to do this anymore. So like what's a solution? So then, I started thinking about how you order stuff on Amazon, and how it's as simple as just a click of a button. And I kind of related that to the problem that I was having right now. And then help was born. The idea of like ordering services with something as simple as a click of a button. But obviously the initial idea was really, really simple. It was just like you want someone to come mow your lawn. So you search up lawn mowing and press request. And that's really all I had in mind, because that was the first step in the ideation process, was just figuring out the problem and figuring out a really general solution to how to solve it. Do you guys want to jump in?
Yeah, and it's really crazy because
guys.
like when you first started describing it as well, like you always talked about, you see these trucks on the highway or whatnot that have like, oh, lawn mowing, or beacon, or call whatever Marshawn Lynch ad does. But basically they have like these numbers and the title, and then like you either have a couple seconds to catch the number or it's done. So, I mean, till today, I always think every time I see like a truck like that, I'm like, yeah, this is a problem that's still ongoing, right? So it's just amazing to still see that, the problem is still there. And it's always good to kind of feel that we're working towards it. And as of right now, we're still getting closer, of course, with the development process. But kind of carrying on from what Ziad finished, it's, we started with the idea, and as Ziad described, it's right now it's a lot more complex than what we started with now. We're trying not to only help the customer and improve their lives, it's kind of also help the business as well, provide them with resources that they can use to improve their business. Basically, our logos enhance their business, so providing analytics, payment scheduling, all those kind of things. So it's, we help the business grow, and in the same time they help us by bringing their customers. So yeah, that's
I just want to double click on that really quickly. So can you just talk a bit more in terms of, where we were at the beginning with all that process, and then where we are now in terms of, like, you don't have to go too much into the development and what the app looks like now, but I guess as a company, where do you see us now?
Yeah, so like kind of Khalid said at the beginning, it was um just like that was just me like sitting like at night kind of like thinking about what the app would look like, how it would function, all that kind of stuff. But it really started coming together when I started like talking to other people about it, because then they would like bring up like certain problems that I hadn't addressed, or they'd come up with cool ideas. And it kind of relates to what we said earlier about like how working in a team really pushes your mindset forward. Like you start thinking about things that you haven't been thinking about before. And like it really started like the main part of that started really when I took that into FBLA, as you remember, Zane. I started like using it to create a business plan. I started looking into like the more in-depth details about like how to actually develop the idea. And during that process, I'd be like talking to you about it, Zane. I think I talked to Khalid about it a couple times during that phase. And again, you guys brought up things that I hadn't even thought about before. Um, and Khalid, do you remember what some examples or anything? I
Yeah,
remember I talked to
I
you a
remember.
lot at that point.
Yeah, I remember the first time you like presented to me, it was like a couple days like before your like event
Mm.
competition. So then you were just describing just like the basic app and you had a presentation of how it's going to work. But then we always brought up like ways to make it easier for the customer. You know, you had all these like ideas for within the app, a customer press here, you know, this would pop up. But then we all like both of us came up with the idea of kind of making it simple and suggesting stuff to the customer. So you even using that aspect of technology, which is something that we really want to grow in. So using like, you know, obviously this is way in the future, but using like ML and AI and all that stuff to like suggest, you know, services that you would like and that kind of stuff. But all those kind of developed into idea, which brought up like baby ideas basically during that time. But yeah, I know like, yeah, Bilal and Zayn were like the most in on it from the beginning, right?
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
I
I
talked to
still
them a lot
remember.
during the plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah,
I talking to you about, Zane?
there were
Yeah.
so many different events that like I still remember so distinctly. The first one was watching you present in the hotel, and then just going back and forth with your entire intro. We got like 6 minutes through the presentation, and then we were like, okay, Ziad, we got to go. And then we went, and then it was Bilal and I, and then a couple of our friends, and we were just sitting there. And I still remember Ziad's intro. He like ran from the left side of the room, ran all the way across to the right side of the room to give two different perspectives of what someone is like when they're an adult compared to what they're like, as a teenager, and then just discussing how the app just plays in a role there. I don't remember specific things wherein I gave you like advice, but I do remember coming back home from a lacrosse game one night, and we got on the phone and we were setting up the email, and like all of my lights were closed. I was just sitting there on my computer. I had you in my earbuds, and we were just typing out help LLC or help contact at gmail.com, setting all that up. And then our iconic ask, which was at PF Chang's, another potential sponsor for help, where I was just eating my ginger chicken and broccoli, and then you're like, hey, so what do you think about joining the company, or what do you think about XX? And then I just started putting out some ideas. And I guess, up until that point, there was no realization that small businesses could actually happen within a teenage demographic just because of the discourse surrounding it, which is ironic compared to where we're all now, multi small business owners. But
Sir.
yeah, just it's crazy to see sitting at home at night to, now where it's almost a full-fledged platform. We've gotten to know each other so much over the past, I'm I'm gonna mess up the months. I think it's 14 now. I think it might be 15 months, whatever. But yeah, it's crazy,
It's
absolutely
really cool
crazy.
to also see the timeline. So like it's, you
Yeah,
know, we have Ziad going to Zayn and then Bilal and then, you know, I was somewhere in the mix. And then, you know, we
yeah.
started, it was kind of like the gathering the team, you know, you think in a movie, it's like you go to this person, try to convince them, then you go to this person, convince them. And then of course we have the ultimate, you know, to
The-
well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
developer.
mean,
We
even
went to
With
Shrey.
Shrey,
Yeah.
yeah, like with Shrey, the reason I even like start talking, like I didn't know Shrey before Help.
Yeah.
I think I think you guys know that by now.
Bilal, yeah, Bilal
the
knew.
way we
Yeah,
had
Billy,
even,
Billy.
yeah, I asked Bilal, I'm like, we need another developer. We're not gonna be able to do this like just ourselves.
Look at the smile
It's
on
like too
his
big of a
face.
project.
Bilal's so happy.
It's too big of a project. And yeah, and he was like, oh, I remember this guy. Like I used to know him. I think it was like in middle school or something.
This one dude.
And like he's
Okay,
really,
listen,
yeah,
10th
he's like
grade
really
too.
smart. Yeah, I think. Okay, but like you probably remember.
Okay. So you asked me which developer, right? So it was like beginning of let's say 10th grade, right? And was it?
It was cool. I know you contacted me in like June after nationals.
Was that 10th grade or 9th grade?
Oh,
That was
just
10th
I just
grade.
go to nationals every year, so I
Going
don't
into
know.
10th grade.
Okay,
Sophomore
yeah.
year, yeah.
I didn't
It
even
was
go to
sophomore year.
nationals, but it was so it was after sophomore year, right? So yeah, he asked me, do you know a developer? And me and Trey, we were really good friends, bro, because every day we would like, so we lived in the same neighborhood, right? So every day there was a really long walk from the bottom of the bus, right? And then to the top of the mountain where we live on, which is like, it's like a 10-15 minute walk. So every day, me and Trey, we just walk up the mountain together. We talk about, everything, like what's going on with our lives, what's going on,
Oh,
with
real
was
real
really
friendship
good.
developed on a walk.
And
dude.
Trey, no, it wasn't one walk. It was a walk every single day, right?
Dang.
And then
Bob would tag
Trey
on
would
to
like talk. Trey would flex, right? Trey would flex that he's like, oh, I'm coding apps, and this is before I got into like, oh, I'm releasing an Android app on the App Store or on the Google Play Store, right? And like and I was like starting coding. I wasn't like anywhere near where Trey was, right? So like, I'm like, you know what? This guy is gonna motivate me to become a better developer, right? So that when Ziad asked for a good developer, I'm like, yo, this guy has put apps in the App Store. I'm like, let me contact him and see what's up. And then me and Ziad met with Trey at a Starbucks, and then the rest is history.
Oh, the rest is history. Not yet, but it will be.
You got a different perspective, Shay, or the same thing?
I don't really remember talking about.
You don't remember those walks, Trey? You don't
I
remember
remember
those?
what? And Bilal would just hang on to my backpack, and I'd have to carry this dude on top
Bro,
of that.
that's not
It
what
was a
happened.
struggle.
That's not what happened.
Oh my
You can't
God.
carry me, bro. You stop acting like you're tough. Oh my.
Nah, it was definitely a struggle, Bilal. You know it. But yeah, and then and then later on when Bilal reached out, I was actually kind of excited because the only projects I'd worked on were like for FBLA or something like that. It wasn't like something cool or something like big scale, like kind of like help, like the idea for it. And so when Bilal reached out, I was like, well, this is crazy, like let's meet up or something. And then we met up on, I think in a Starbucks on like a Friday or something at 4:00. And then Ziad and Bilal just started telling me about the idea. And honestly, I was always passionate about like kind of, I wanted to help society with technology. And like when I heard this idea, it was like helping small businesses, improving people's lifestyle. And I was like, this is a great like segue into kind of real life technology and how I could leverage what I've learned so far. And I honestly just knew like basic Java at that point or something. And then they were like, we're using React Native, JavaScript. And honestly, at first I was intimidated. I was like, whoa, what is this? But as I got involved, they helped me through like the first few weeks. We stood at Starbucks, they tell me what to do, like help me through the process. And eventually I kind of just got the hang of it. And it was like a great
Eventually,
segue.
this guy is always like he's so humble, bro. Like this guy, he always talks about himself as like he's dumb or something, right? But this guy was better in React Native than in like a week and a half. Like this guy would be coding apps. Like he was coding 3 apps after a week in React Native. You gotta lie about that.
I was not that good. It took me a while to get the hang of it.
I mean, obviously, without the guidance. I was gonna say,
what was cool to me was like how fast Shrey was like on board. Like literally, like we talked to him at that Starbucks, and like
the next
instantly he was
day.
like, yeah, like I'm in. I'm in. Like the next day, we were adding him to like the GitHub and everything. Like,
I remember it happening too.
instant.
I remember it happening. I was at lacrosse practice on Saturday, and it was like 9:00 in the morning, and I got a call from from Easy had, and he was like, "Oh, we just talked to the developer. We just got him on." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was excited, and then I got to know Trey. And this guy, okay, let me just tell you guys again, this guy needs some type of sleep coach or something. Okay, this guy never goes to sleep. Okay, like it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But he's
Yo,
just
it's
I
like
still remember. Sometimes we'd be sending Slack messages at like 1 a.m. He'd respond.
Not only
Like,
one,
dude,
dude,
it
we'd be
sent
sending
something
out
else at like
four.
6 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah,
can I,
like-
can I,
Yeah, and then
yo,
he'd
can I
send
say
something
one?
else at 6. I'd be
Can
so
I say one
confused.
thing? It was like because I would say
Yeah.
something in Slack at like 2 or 3 a.m. because I was doing running start, right? And I had a pretty like my classes were like the afternoon, right? So I like went to sleep at like late night, right? And you guys were going to normal school. You guys were waking up at 6 or 7 a.m. So I would send a message 3 a.m. You'd respond. And then you guys would reply to that message at 6 or 7 a.m. And then he would respond also to that message. So like this guy's sleep schedule is like something else, man.
Yeah, it's definitely not good.